Pirates of the Caribbean, more like Pirates of the Podcast, am I right?
No, but I guess we'll keep it.
Damn it. Alright, so one of the problem with doing episodes that aren't topical and just doing like a random episode is it makes it really hard to think of like a topical podcast quip. Alright?
Listen, my suggestion was that we just push record and start.
Well, I don't know. It would have been weird without an intro. I need this.
All right.
I don't know. Just something random. One jump ahead of the podcasts. One swing ahead of the podcast.
You haven't done that yet?
What? I haven't done Aladdin yet.
You haven't done One Jump before? I swear you've sang this song before.
No. I think I did. I might have done a whole new podcast. Yeah. All right. So let's do that. Yeah.
Either way.
All right. New intro. One jump ahead of the podcasts, one swing ahead of the podcasts. I steal only the podcasts I can't afford, which fortunately isn't that many because most of them are free.
Yeah.
That's actually...
or else we wouldn't be in this, yeah.
Yeah. So, welcome to the Disney Desk again.
Yes,
as always,
welcome.
I am Carter.
And I'm Sydney.
And how are you today?
Cool, groovy.
Oh, yeah,
chillin'.
I was going to say. So we're actually recording a couple episodes back to back.
Yeah,
so
since our time, like, physically together is sort of limited, we have to, like, sit down and crank out, like, a lot. So we sit here for a long periods of time and just record a bunch of content and then put it together in episodes that make sense later.
Yeah, I'm just jamming out. Yeah.
Right. So here we are. We just finished. I don't know why I just switched into this accent and suddenly I'm just following through with it.
Oh, no.
I don't know what made me want to do
Daisy
this.
Ridley?
Okay, turn it off. Alright, anyway.
I find, in terms of, like, from the Renaissance Fair, the easiest way to get out of an accent is... Well, to get into accent, I just keep saying good day, until I get into something.
Are you kidding? Good day.
Yeah. And if I want to get out of it, I just start going, memes. Like, I just force myself to, like, cough it out while yelling memes.
No.
Because, like, old British people wouldn't have used the term memes.
Back to what I was saying. We just finished our Star Wars episode.
Which is...
recording it. We have more content than we really know what to do with.
Yeah, I'm going to have to edit one of these for a change.
So, you're going to have to do just a little bit of work.
Sound editing.
So sorry.
It's alright.
Anywho, I had the idea when we were kind of thinking about what we wanted to talk about today. As I mentioned, I have been perusing Tumblr and other, interweb sources and really dove into the Star Wars fandom. And I can kind of feel like an obsession kind of growing just a little bit, don't you think?
Oh, it's past
within
that,
myself.
It's way past
Well,
that.
details. Anywho,
the obsession is awakening in you.
It is awakening, yes.
You need to find your place in all of this.
I do.
Ah, dang it! That would have been a great intro.
Oh,
like I need to find my place in this podcast.
Man. This is why I do the storyboarding, and then I come up with the ideas, and then you run with them. That's our dynamic here.
I think that's a better strategy for us.
Anywho, it got me thinking about other obsessions about having an obsession in general, but specifically Disney related obsessions and how many things within the Disney universe like fuel these things that people want to like submerge themselves in, and like why that possibly it could be, and how they are so effective in like making people commit their entire lives to these things. Do you know what I mean? And I also wanted us to just, it's been a while since we've just talked about ourselves as individuals, so I thought we'd just share our own personal obsession stories of various Disney related, if applicable, obsessions that we've had throughout our lives.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of obsessions in general, I think, a part of that is, as we said, Disney magic. They just have a way of, like, making something timeless so it never really goes away, and then it's hard to ignore it because it never goes away, and then you slowly get absorbed into
Which is why I think it made a lot of sense for me, for Disney to buy Lucasfilm, because I think that it already, like, had its own, like, audience that was just going to be along for it anyway.
Yeah. Whereas just adding the Disney shine to that doesn't really change that much.
Yeah. So.
That, I think it's become even more prevalent just because of, like, the rise of the internet age.
Yeah.
Because in an era where you can, like, because, back in, like, the 70s, if you loved Star Trek, it's like, how many people would you have known? Like, if you wanted to meet other people who have to do that, you'd either have to hope your friends were into it, or hope that you could go to, like, start your own club, or find, like, a convention if you lived close enough to a major city. Yeah.
You'd have to read the newspaper.
Whereas now, you can literally just go on Reddit and, like, be like, hey, who's into shipping Picard in Spock?
On every single social media platform.
Even though they're in different timelines.
Details.
Yeah. So I think that has really fueled it more than anything.
Yes, that you have, that we now have access to, like, all of the other people on the planet who could also be interested in the same things that we are, which makes being interested in something that much easier when you have other people to love it with you.
And especially, like, the rise of monetized fandom, I guess, like, all of these, like, theory channels, like, there's a whole cottage industry of Steven Universe theorists who, like, who make monetized videos being like, oh, who shattered Pink Diamond? Or like, oh, why does Pink Diamond look different than the other two diamonds? She must have been a broken gem or something. And, like, again, that's another thing with Star Wars. It's like, that's naturally baked into Star Wars at this point. So having, like, people reviewing Star Wars, people talking about Star Wars, people making Star Wars fan films, people making Star Wars, like, tribute videos, people making Star Wars music videos, like, I think Disney lends itself to that really well. Their entire channel's dedicated to just Frozen or opening Disney toys.
Well, yeah.
Like, how can you not have an obsession when it's like, people literally make their livelihood around it now. And I think Disney, too, in particular, there's that great chart Walt Disney did where he showed how everything was connected, where it's like, you have the films, then you have the television programming, then you have the toys, then you have the music, and just showing all the little connections. Just the fact that you create, like, you can make a multimedia empire out of just one film, I think really helps on that front.
So, have you had any Disney-related obsessions in your life?
To be honest, I was thinking about this because most of my obsessions have been non-Disney. Like, Scott Pilgrim was probably my biggest, but in terms of Disney, oddly enough, sorry.
Are you kidding?
There have been. Thank you. It's not as much been the animated movies, other than maybe Jungle Book, which I grew up with a lot.
Yeah.
Sorry, had a sneeze. I'll have to edit this out.
Is there another one?
Maybe. I'm good. Yeah, I'm gonna have to edit that.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So there's been Jungle Book, which, as a kid I was obsessed with and I would watch every day. I guess you could call that an obsession. Just the fact that I would always have a Disney movie on at some point during every day for a long time.
Yeah.
But specifically, the Pirates of the... God damn.
This is so difficult today. Go ahead.
Specifically the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. I was huge into those when they first came out. Like, the first 3, I was so in the weeds for those. Even though the third one was objectively bad.
Yep.
Even though it was a 3-hour slog. I was so into, like, the lore, I was into, like, the characters, and, like, I would get all the toys from McDonald's.
Oh, I forgot all about that, yeah.
Like, I was all up in that, John. Then, oddly enough, also another live-action one based on a ride, The Haunted Mansion, I was so into.
Oh.
Even though horror kind of creeped me out back when I was a kid, I was like, look at this is so cool. Oh, man, jeez.
It was safe horror. I don't even really would call it horror. Like, it was just spooky time. You know what I mean? In the cutest way that it could be. Something about Haunted Mansion is very cute to me.
Yeah.
But
and then in terms of modern obsessions, well, I mean, I'm obsessed with the Marvel movies, but again, it depends whether we call that Disney or not. Like, I am... Like,
I don't know.
What Harry Potter is to some people and what Star Wars is for other people, that's me in the Marvel movies.
Oh, I see.
Like, being so into every single one and, like, breaking them down analytically and, like, talking about them all the time.
Yep.
So that would be my number 1. I guess... And then my fourth, my most recent one is Gravity Falls, which is a recently... Well, I guess it's been gone for like 3 years now, but it was an animated show on the Disney Channel about these 2 kids who went to visit their uncle or grandpa/uncle in the...
no relation to Uncle Grandpa?
No.
Okay, sorry, I had to. Go ahead.
No. who lives up in Oregon, like in this creepy town with all these weird magical creatures. Have you watched it at all?
No.
Okay. So how much do you know about it, though?
Nothing.
Really?
I've, like, kind of, like, detached myself almost entirely from Disney Channel, but go ahead.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's another topic, but...
Right.
But, yeah, so basically they're going up with their grunkle, Stan, who runs this, like, crappy tourist trap called the Mystery Shack, which is, like, all these oddities and stuff. And then Dipper discovers this book that lists all of these real magical creatures and stuff that happen to be living in Gravity Falls. And basically the whole show, like, Steven Universe is built around fan theories and, like, build up to big reveals, but that is, like, the blood of this show, where even from the get-go, they're setting up, like, secret codes and, like, things to decipher and, like, hints and fan theories. And, like, even though the show's over and I know all the big, like, mysteries and stuff, like... there's still all this discussion about, like, oh, this and that, and will it ever come back, and will they ever do this, or is this connected to this? And I'm into that discussion of, like, the bigger lore.
Right.
Because basically there's a bigger lore about this, like, supernatural entity that exists around the falls. Yeah, so much kind of modern, like, internet age.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
So, for me, there's two major ones that come to mind when I think of my Disney obsessions. I have a propensity for being obsessed with things.
Yeah.
I think I'm just, like, I think people just are vulnerable.
Oh, no, absolutely.
I think there are certain, like, personality types that are more vulnerable to becoming,
I think
like...
humans in general.
I think humans in general, but I also, like, I think there are people who are, like, who could be a fan of something, could be fans of lots of things, but not really, like, find themselves obsessed with anything. But that's not me. I'm, like, very easily obsessed with everything. So anyway, the first... It's not... I don't know. These both kind of existed around the same exact time for me. I think I mentioned on, like, our pilot episode that I, like, just had an obsession with Disney in general, which is, like, pretty much what you said.
Talked about that.
And mine was more of, like, a historical, like, aspect. It was more about Walt Disney. But anyway, my big obsessions, the first one was High School Musical. And it's not really, like my two obsessions, they kind of existed at the same time. But, the first one was High School Musical. And, it was, I think that was what made me want to, like, be in the performing arts, because I wanted to be in, like, a real life version. Not so much, like, in a high school that, like, sang like this, but, like, it was the first time that I saw, actors who did this professionally, who were, like, you're singing, dancing, and acting, and, like, I looked at these people as, like, oh, like, that's a job, and I want to do that, like, do you know what I mean? Yeah. So, but High School Musical, it was disgusting, actually, my obsession. I mean, I was in, like, middle school, like, elementary school, middle school, and it was, like, now that I look back at it, I was like, that was disgusting, like, because that was my entire... like, being, everything, like, it was just the most important thing in the world to me at High School Musical. There was, like, no one else that was a bigger High School Musical fan than I am, like, than I was. And I eventually, like, kind of turned my back on it, like, when I got to high school, and I did talk about this, too, that I eventually got to high school and got really, like, militant and angry about it, about how this is not actually how high school is at all. But I had everything. I had, like, those, like, High School Musical, like, books, and I had, like, every sort of t-shirt, every sort of, like, everything that you could think of. I was just, like, in this, like, I was in a black hole. So, but that's not even, like, the most important one in my life, but, like, that one, that took up a big majority of my life and attention, High School Musical did, and I definitely think it like, shaped the person that I am, because, like I said, it introduced me to the performing arts as, like, a profession.
Yeah, but that's an inspirational one.
Right.
That's not, like... Obsession is usually associated with bad, whereas that's,
right.
Like...
But it was an obsession. But, I mean, like, the end result did end up being good for me, I feel like. But I was grossly obsessed with High School Musical. It was weird. It was weird, and totally embarrassing, but I've embraced it now. That was you know, that was my life. That's who I was. The other one... Take a wild guess.
Probably. Well, I was gonna say the shipping from Star Wars, but do you mean something else?
No. Yes, something else.
I'm blanking. I feel like I should know this.
It was Tinkerbell.
Tinkerbell. All right. Oh, because of the poster.
We're sitting in my room and there's literally a poster. So, like, you see that poster?
Yeah.
Imagine this entire bedroom looking exactly like that poster.
Oh, cheapest.
Whereas we painted, slow down. When we moved into this house, this was like a baby bedroom, and the wallpaper, like this half, like from this chair railing. So the wallpaper up here, it was like a sky. Like it looked like almost like the Toy Story, like clouds, but like much more realistic looking. So we took that turquoise color and painted the bottom half of it, and I had a Tinkerbell mural up on this wall. God. And so this was a universe that, like, I don't even know if you're aware that there is, like, an entire universe that exists.
Yeah,
like,
those animated short things.
No, like, sort of like that, but there was stuff before that, like, that and those animated stuff that, like, Raven-Symoné was in, like, I didn't even pay attention to those. That was towards the end for me,
I guess that's why it surprised me, because that seems like more of a today thing and not a, like, past
This was
thing.
Nowhere near today. This was the past for sure. I don't even remember how I found it. I think it was because there was a period of my time where I wanted to watch Peter Pan every day.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably where it began, but I don't know how I accumulated all of this fairy stuff. I think it was because I used to play a lot of computer games, and I was on Disney Channel, like, .com a lot, and they had this, like, fairy game that you could play. And I guess that must have been where I, like, learned about this whole, like, never fairy universe.
Yeah.
And I should have pulled those books out because I feel like I still have a lot of that stuff. But I had these books. I had this one book that was beautifully illustrated, almost like Thomas Kincaid style, like, paintings. It was written like a textbook, though. And it was all about, like, it was almost like about the politics of this universe, I was so submerged in it, and I had, like, all of this information, and it was like I knew all of these fairy names, and I knew about, like, their occupations, and, like, it was like a real place, you know what I mean? But, like, I was, like, so, like, well informed about this world. Oh, if I could even find that book somewhere. I feel like it's still around here somewhere. But I was obsessed with Tinkerbell, and specifically Never Fairies. Like, because there's different, like, types of fairies. I won't get into it. There's different types of fairies.
Why?
I don't know, because
never
that's
about
what...
them?
Neverland.
I thought it was, like, fairies who were, like, militant against being
Never fairies.
Like, they hated themselves.
Anti-fairies. No.
Like,
as in...
anti-fairies.
As in Neverland.
Oh, that makes a lot more sense.
Yes. They're Neverland fairies. There are different types of fairies. They are all controlled by, like, this president dove. There's a dove.
A literal dove?
A literal dove. Her name is Mother Dove.
Oh my god, that actually
and she is awesome. Like the queen of this universe. Like she's like the Princess Leia, pretty much. And then there are fairies that are bad and, like, evil, but everybody has, like, a trait. Like, you're born into, like, when you're created, you get a trait, and there's, like, this big ceremony where, like, your trait is given to you. And there are, like, water fairies, there are, like, fairies that can talk to animals, there are fairies that are good at, like, growing things, there are fairies that are just specifically for cooking, and that was always Tinkerbell's, like, biggest problem. I don't know if you're ever even slightest familiar with those, like, the newer animated movies. The newer ones
established that she, like, doesn't have a role.
Her role is just so, like, unimportant. She's a tinker fairy.
Oh,
which means she works with tin.
Things.
Yeah. Like, but, like, specifically, like metal things. Like, so it's super obscure what she does. And she's mad about it because she believes that she, like, can be so much more important. She doesn't really see why she is important.
There was.
Yeah, there's a lot to think about. And I was just like, and I knew, like, all their names, like, all these main characters and, like, all that. Like, this was a true, like, obsession.
Yeah.
And that probably one of the first ones I ever had in my life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was very, very young for that.
Holy smokes.
I know. I'm going to see if I can dig those books out while you're here. Like, but I just had all these little figurines, all these toys, all these dolls, and, like, and, like, the mural I was telling you about, and, like, just, like, my whole life looked like that poster.
Oh, good lord.
Like, it was real. That was my Disney obsession. But, like, I don't know, Disney just made it easy to not care about anything else.
I feel like most of... I don't have that many long-term obsessions like that. Most of mine are just for like a month and then I'm done with it.
No.
Like right now I'm in a Greatest Showman obsession where I'm obsessing over every little aspect of that film and overanalyzing it and trying to break it down.
Wow.
In terms of Disney, I had that with Tomorrowland a lot, where I was like, this is bad, but it's bad in interesting ways. So I want to study this.
Yeah.
Like things like that where I'll just like get really into like the whole creative process behind a certain thing. And, like, really analyze, like, either what went right or wrong, or why it is the way it is. And then
I hold obsessions for years. And then I eventually move on from them all, even though, like, in the moment you feel like, I'm going to love this forever. Like, this will be the last thing I ever love in life. Like, do you know what I mean?
This is my home. This is my thing.
This is the thing that I was meant to be obsessed with. And I've gone through that with, like, so many different things. Yeah, but...
Like...
That's Disney.
Yeah. I guess for me, it's like in the internet age, it's just there's too much stuff to ever get stuck in something too.
Right? Yeah. There's
there's something new every other day. Mm-hmm. Like there's always a new cafe or like a new teaser trailer on the horizon to distract me.
Pretty much, especially with memes. Every day is a new meme. Every day is a new
just getting obsessed with memes
in general. Yeah. I feel really lucky to live in this age just because we have memes and for no other reason, just because we have memes.
Just like, you know, like they say life is pain, but at least now we can have a funny picture of a dog.
That's true, yeah.
A dog in like a science coat and lab glasses.
Exactly. We would have never had this before, yeah.
I agree.
Well.
All right. We're going to take a quick commercial break. And, for once we actually had a concise point to make.
I know, yeah.
We're going to take a quick break and then get into our next topic. All right, and now we're going to go straight from obsessions to attractions.
Attractions.
But not attractions between Kylo Ren and Rey, but, in fact... attractions as in rides.
Rides at Disneyland/World. I've never been to Disneyland, though, so I only have World as a reference.
And I've been to neither of the parks.
I can't believe that.
It just, never had an opportunity. My sister went for a lacrosse tournament once, but, what can you do, right?
Right.
So you were talking about they're closing down an iconic ride.
Yeah, and my mom and I had looked this up too, and we saw that it was considered like one of the worst rides. Even though I loved it, it's one of my favorite rides. But it was, it's called Stitch's Great Adventure, Stitch's Wild Adventure, something like that. It's pretty much, it was a ride where like, it was more of like a theater ride where it was like, there was a lot of rides that aren't exactly rides, but they're like, you see like a show sort of thing type happen, but it wasn't exactly a show either. But it was pretty much like, Experiment 626 has escaped from, his pod or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's just this really funny, like, comical, like, 4D they call it because...
Yeah, it's one of those things.
Right, yeah. It's where like, it touches you. Yeah, and you feel like air. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I liked that attraction. I remember liking that attraction a lot.
Yeah.
But, and actually we did get a picture with Stitch. That was our Christmas card that year.
Aww.
That was like a photo of me and Stitch. But they recently closed it down. Mm-hmm. But we wanted to talk about today, various rides.
Yeah, what we think is like the best or like most signature ride in all of Disney World / Land.
Right.
Obviously, I'm at a bit of a disadvantage because I've never actually been to the park, so I'm going more based on iconography and like some like legacy than actual entertainment value.
Right.
So would you like to begin?
Yeah, I guess. The first one I want to say is the Peter Pan ride. Only because in the times, I've been to Disney World twice, and the one thing that I can remember about that line is there is always at least an hour and like 45-minute wait to get in there. And the ride is fascinating. It's like you actually like fly on like it's like this in this big building type thing, but you get to be on like a little ship. And the ship, like, lifts off, and you, like, fly above, and there's, like, crocodiles, like, you know what I mean? So, the Peter Pan ride, like, not only is it it is a super cool ride, but, I mean, it's in high demand. Like, people wait in that line for like an hour and a half, hour, 45 minutes to get in there. And I don't foresee that ever really going out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I guess, and this is me being lazy, but for me, I think I would go with the Tower of Terror. Ooh, actually, instead of Tower of Terror, I would go with the Haunted Mansion, because, like, I feel like the three, like, rides everyone knows about are Pirates of the Caribbean, the Haunted Mansion, and Tower of Terror. And of those three, I feel like Haunted Mansion best captures, like, Disney, as it were. Because, like, Pirates of the Caribbean is kind of, like, it's obviously sort of like a sanitized, like, more rompy version of what pirates are. But, like, it's still not really Disney. It's more gritty, it's more action-y than your typical Disney fare. Plus, it sort of got... Apparently, people don't like it as much now that Jack Sparrow is such a, like, key part of it.
Yeah.
Like, where they've crowbarred the films into it a little more. And the Tower of Terror, that's, like, actual horror. Like, they don't mess around. That's the one ride where you're allowed to frown.
Right.
And then they ended up getting... We weren't sure about this. They got rid of the one Tower of Terror for Guardian's epic adventure quest, Escape from the Cell, and listen to pop music from the 80s. But
whether there is a Tower of Terror in both Disneyland, California, and Disney World,
Florida. But we'll have to double check that. For me, Haunted Mansion, because, it's a little spooky, but it's more, like, campy. Like, it's this very campy, whimsical version of, like, horror. Like, it's, like, it has these it's very vibrant, and it has this very vibrant palette of, like, blues and greens and purples, and it's musical, and it's silly. Like, it's like someone sat down and, like, obviously the ride came before any of the other stuff, but it's like someone sat down and said, what is the Disney-fied version of a, like, haunted mansion, like a haunted location? And they came up with the best possible version of that.
Alright, so I just looked it up, and it says that at some point there was one in Disney's California Adventure Park, so, like, I don't know if you know anything about Disneyland, but, like, it's, like, they have two different parks. So there's Disneyland Resort and then California Adventure.
Yeah.
So there was one in California Adventure, and then it says it's formerly located there. But as far as I know, it was in Hollywood Studios in Florida, which used to be MGM, so.
I see. Yeah, like, for me, and I guess, like, of those three, the one that I could most imagine having, like, a lavish 2D animated film for is Haunted Mansion. Apparently they were working on a animated series, and we were talking about this beforehand. Like, you can go online, search up Haunted Mansion animated intro, and it's this little, like, teaser someone made for Disney. Unfortunately, it didn't get greenlit, but it looked very lovely. Did you know there was also a Tower of Terror movie? I think it was a DVD movie.
As I was looking this up on Google, something came up as, like, a movie.
Yeah.
And I had no idea.
Basically, the idea is the elevator broke down and a bunch of famous or important people died, and they find out who was responsible for it. I don't remember that much. It was very much a 90s Disney movie with, like, the annoying kids and a parent who just doesn't understand and, like, a really telegraphed twist. I mean, it was fine. It just wasn't great.
You're right, I got you.
Other than, Haunted Mansion would probably be my choice, but talking about some other options, the Teacup ride or, like, the Dumbo ride, like,
Teacup and Dumbo.
Yeah.
What about them?
Like, they're not the most exciting or, like, signature ride. Like, they're not the fun ones everyone talks about, but...
What? Well, I guess not, but you also haven't really been there.
Yeah.
If you choose to opt out of those,
Yeah, like, that's what I mean. They're standards, like...
Right.
Of the ride, in all the commercials, those are two that are always...
Right, yeah,
like,
that's true.
They represent Disney in such a big extent. Have I ever showed you
the picture of me in the teacup?
No, you never have.
No?
Alright, remind me to look at that before we go.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, like, I think those would be two very good candidates.
Yeah.
Just based on iconography and, like, being standard bearers.
Let's see. People always talk about, what is it, Jungle Cruise in Animal Kingdom?
They've actually been talking about making a movie out of that one, too.
Yeah?
Yeah, with The Rock, because... Oh. And, like, look, guys, you might as well see all of them, because, you know, he might be president, and, like, if you want to get in on all the late-night jokes,
right,
you're gonna have to see all of them. But... Yeah, no, Jungle Cruise, that would be a good one, too.
Yeah, Jungle Cruise seems to be a popular one. Also in Animal Kingdom, let me see. What was that one? I don't even know if it's still there. There was, like, the Yeti.
Oh, right.
The one that you, like, drive, and you go backwards through the entire thing.
I remember the Disney Channel was promoting that one when we were kids.
Yeah, I remember there was a lot of commercials about it. That's one. I don't know. Anything else you can think of?
The Indiana Jones ride.
The show.
Yeah, the show is like
show.
very signature. I don't know if we can count that because it's not really a ride.
Right.
But like that's one of the things. Again, everyone wants to see that. That's always a big. That's always a big pull.
Yeah, that was a good. I have seen that show.
Yeah. Like,
excuse me.
I mean, heck, even on Full House when they went to Disney World, that was one of the big things they went to.
Really? I don't remember that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to recall, like, since the last time I was in the last time I was in Florida was in 2008, I want to say. We,
last time I was never.
You know, a funny story that my mom and I remember, like, talk about all the time is that, because we were talking about, like, what we remembered from the trip. And when we were in Disney World, we, like, we had, like, we got these fast passes or whatever, but, like, there was a problem, so they were like, oh, well, you can come back at night, and, like, you can come back in, like, you know, a couple hours or something. It was like, come back later, and, like, you'll be, like, first in line. So we, like, came back. I don't remember. It was like the best night ever, right? Okay, because we came back and we, like, took a nap or whatever, and we went back out, and it was a Toy Story ride.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was those Toy Story, like, shooter,
yeah, the little
ride.
Shooter gun thing.
Yeah, that was it. And then we saw Fantasmic, which is, like, the big, like, show on the water, like, the big fireworks show.
Yeah.
And then guess what? We left the park, came back to our hotel room, turned on the TV, and Barack Obama had been elected president.
You went on election night? Oh, that's bananas.
Isn't that bananas? We like left Disney World, came back to our hotel room, and then we turned on TV, and like, boop, it was a celebration.
Oh, God.
And he had been elected president. It was the greatest day of my life.
And that was like pre-iPhone, so it wasn't like you guys could just keep periodically checking the map.
No, had no idea. My mom had done her absentee ballot thing.
Yeah, so like you could have gone to that park and literally had no idea what was going on.
Right?
Like, like, I don't know, because that's just such a weird thought, because my family's so obsessed with elections. We were, like, sitting down and keeping track of every single, like, minute of that. And just, oh, man, to literally walk into that park and then walk out in, like, a radically different world.
Yep.
That's nuts.
That was one of the greatest memories, so thanks Disney World for... That's just what I associate with that trip, honestly. Is that day, the best day of the entire vacation.
Aw.
Let me think.
I actually pulled up a list.
I guess, can we consider it like an attraction, like all of the, like, meeting the characters?
I don't know if we can really count, like, because it is a big part of the experience, but that's more of, like, interactions. That's not really an attraction.
Yeah, and I mean, they call it entertainment, but...
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like that's cheating, because, of course, like, meeting Snow White is the biggest thing.
Right.
So just this
what
list.
about, we never talked about, I don't know if I wanted to mention it, but Small World.
Oh, God. I was just about to say, we forgot, like, one of the most iconic rides.
Right.
Small World.
I've been on it twice. I love it. I love it. I love Small World.
Like, people rip on it because it's kind of creepy.
It's
and
totally
like,
creepy.
You know, and obviously it's built on caricature. But
yeah,
like,
some is slightly insensitive. Like, it's slightly not very as tasteful as it could be.
Yeah, I mean, but at the same time, it really does capture this sweet sentiment of, like, a borderless world where we're, like, all together, even though it's captured through the, like, just a kind of lame way.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know how else to say that.
I mean, it was, like, the 50s, I guess, but...
Right.
Ooh, that's tough.
Like, but I guess it has to be. I guess we can't really talk about attractions without talking about it.
Yeah, no, I would consider it up there because it is like. Yeah. I almost don't associate it with Disney anymore.
And you get to see it in a boat. Like, you get to be in a little canoe, which is scary, honestly.
Like, to be honest...
You're straight up in water, like, weird.
Honestly, my biggest memory of it is, it turns out in the movie Tomorrowland, that is the gateway into Tomorrowland.
Really?
Yeah, because, like...
I did not know that.
The film starts in, like, this 1950s World Expo in Disney World, and, like, if you have a special pin and you go on the Small World ride, they sanction off your boat to, like, a little teleporter, and then you, like, do your quantum physics stuff and, like, get zapped there.
Oh, it just reminded me of another attraction that I love, because I'm a nerd. The Carousel of Progress.
Ooh.
Do you know that one?
I'm familiar with the name, but I haven't seen it.
I don't know why I feel like they removed it, but it looked decrepit when I was there last. And it was my absolute favorite thing to watch, the Carousel of Progress. It was like a moving, like, theater thing.
Yeah.
A literal carousel. And it was just like watching, like, it was just like following a family in changing technology. Like, from, like, the 50s to, like, the 80s. Like, it was like...
Like, yeah,
And it was, like, these really, like, rickety animatronics and, like, voice acting. And it was beautiful. Like, I don't know why, it was just so fascinating to me, and I loved it. And it was just perfect.
Like, that whole section of Disney World, like, all of Disney's, like, futurist stuff, where he was, like, trying to predict the future was cool.
Right.
And I even consider Small World a part of that, to a certain extent. Dog just ran by the microphone.
Sorry if you heard that.
Yeah, no, I agree. All of that stuff's cool.
Right.
Just going through this list, Splash Mountain, that's a big one.
Yeah. That's a special one, I guess.
Big Thunder Mountain, Space Mountain.
Boo.
And then we get into more Spaceship Earth.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, the Peter Pan one.
Peter Pan, yes. There's the Little Mermaid one.
Ooh,
Winnie the Pooh. Oh, I almost forgot about the Winnie the Pooh
ride. There's a Winnie the Pooh ride?
Yes, and it's glorious.
What?
It just pretty much goes through the movie, like the many adventures of Winnie the Pooh. Like, it goes through every single story.
I would be so into that.
And it's like you sit in a little honey pot. And, like, it's almost trippy, because, like, there's this part where it's all these mirrors, and they take you through the Heffalumps and Woozles. And then there's this one where, like, it looks like it's raining. Like, you know, when, like, his, like, house floods. Like, you know, and he's, like, floating. And then there's the blistery day. It just takes you through, like, a scene in every single adventure that he has. And then the birthday one where they're like, hooray, happy, like, wherever they're, like, throwing him and Piglet up in there. That is just, like, but it has this, like, funhouse feel to it, where it's, like, almost trippy, like, it's...
Yeah, well, that's true about a lot of the rides. It's more of, like, an experience or, like, a funhouse than like, a coaster or something.
But Winnie the Pooh was just such a cool ride. And one of my favorites of all time.
Yeah. So we can consider that, too. I'm literally just skimming through. Stitch's... Business Insider ranked the 53 rides at Disney World, and you know where Lilo and Stitch was?
What? Like
51st. But I remember seeing ads for that one, and that one was cool looking just because all the animatronics and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I like that one, but I believe there was always a Buzz Lightyear one, too.
Really?
There was like a Buzz Lightyear light command where you got to like shoot aliens.
Mission Space or something.
Yeah, maybe. Remember that cartoon? The Buzz Lightyear cartoon
God,
and the Little Mermaid cartoon. Yeah, I something about them was quality. Like just. Like, yeah.
The Hall of Presidents is kind of.
The Hall of Presidents is there.
That's not.
Is there?
Yeah,
it's still
there now.
It's there.
Yeah, it exists.
Yep, that's a thing.
Let's see. The Enchanted Tiki Room.
Oh.
Do we count that though? Yeah, I guess we could count that. God, there's so many rides.
I know, yeah.
The Barnstormer. It's tough
what about
to bug.
the Tree of Life? Is that technically
from Avatar?
The Tree of Life. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's called the Tree of Life.
Yeah, there's all that new Avatar stuff.
No. Like, you ever see in Animal Kingdom, like, that huge tree that has every animal carved into it?
That's cool.
What? That's like the iconic point of Animal Kingdom. That tree that has every single animal, like, carved into it.
God damn. I didn't know about that.
Whoa.
Okay. The Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. Like,
I
that
don't
little
really have a memory of that. Do you know anything about Toontown?
I've heard it. It used to be an animated, or a video game also.
Yes, I remember those video games, those, like, weirdos. When I think about them now, something about them creeps me out. Like, but I don't know why. But Toontown, like, in the parks where you got to go into, like, Mickey's house.
Yeah.
And Minnie's house. Those were cool. And, like, I remember listening to, like, their answering machine. And they were like, Minnie's not home right now. Please leave a message. She was never home. She was never home. She had to work 2 jobs.
Well, no, I was just thinking about that bit where meme where Goofy kisses Minnie in like the costume characters, and then he gives like a whisper,
yes.
and then in the background you just see Mickey.
I remember that. Yes. Oh my gosh, why is that allowed? But yeah, when you get to like go into their houses and like and everything looks cartoonish and like but life size. Yeah.
Yeah, so, alright, let's try to narrow it down to 5.
I forgot that we had a list. Okay.
Oh, God. Alright, let's do 6, so both of us can get 3.
Okay.
And then, I don't know, it's too hard to pick just one, I think, but, like,
alright,
let's try to narrow it down.
Okay, so from me, I'm gonna say Winnie the Pooh.
Okay.
Like, let's go in order. Okay, so 3 would be Peter Pan.
Right.
I would say that 2 is Winnie the Pooh, just for me, that's for my personal taste. Oh, no, because I have no idea. You know what? I'm going to pick Small World as my number 1.
Okay. Dang, you picked it as number 1.
Yeah.
I was going to pick it as number 2.
Oh.
Alright, but to try to separate mine from yours, alright, I'm going to do Teacups number 3, mm-hmm. Tower of Terror as number 2, mm-hmm. and Haunted Mansion still my number 1. Now, interesting, neither of us had Pirates of the Caribbean.
No, I've never been on it.
Like, I know...
And I was also never that interested in Pirates of the Caribbean, like, as a movie.
Yeah. But even before the movie, it was considered, like, one of the signature rides. But I get... Like, do you think the movies have hurt its status, almost?
What do you mean?
Like... Because before the movies came out, Pirates of the Caribbean was the signature ride. It was like, oh, you gotta go on Pirates of the Caribbean. It's one of the best things there. Then when the movie came out, it was like, even better. Like, because it was a name brand thing. And then they'd have Jack Sparrow show up and do a shtick.
I don't know.
But now that we're 5 movies in, 3 of which no one asked for.
Right.
It's like, ugh. When you hear Pirates of the Caribbean, you just kind of go like...
You're stressed out, yeah.
Blah. Do you think that's hurt its status as a ride? Because, yeah, the Haunted Mansion movie was kind of a mess, but, like, people don't remember it
No, I don't think it's hurt it because because the ride isn't changing with each movie.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
So I think all of the newer movies have made the ride that much more valuable.
Interesting.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess, like, that would be the thing if they constantly were changing it. That would affect.
Updating it, like, yeah.
Like, that's the apprehension I have with the King Kong ride at Universal, where it's like, oh, man, now that Skull Island came out, we're going to lose all the Peter Jackson stuff.
Right.
Like, that vision of the character. Whereas this... I think they had a huge controversy because they got rid of the wench auction in it. Because it's like, yeah, this is kind of... let's... Yeah. So, but yeah, they're not changing it to, like, cater to the fans of the movie. So, yeah, I can see that.
Right.
Yeah, I guess, Haunted Mansion hasn't had that problem, because even if you didn't like that movie, it's like...
And no one really
you weren't forced to, it wasn't forced upon you.
Right,
like, they didn't
exactly.
make a franchise out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, like I said, for me, Haunted Mansion is number 1 just because it captures...
It's a cool ride.
Well, 1, it's just freaking cool.
It's so cool.
Like, it captured, like, in terms of if a part of Disney World is bringing these drawings and these characters into the real life, I think that's one of the best examples of how to do that. I also think It's a Small World does that to a certain extent, too, but not as well, just because the animatronics are weird.
Yeah.
Whereas in, like, in Haunted Mansion, they're all kind of, like, more cartoony, so you can get away with it. Yeah. No, those are definitely 2 of the best ones. Yeah, Tower of Terror's gonna... Well, if they ever bring it back, I doubt it.
I don't know, yeah.
You gotta get your 80s funk in there with the Guardians.
Right.
Although, admittedly, that ride's kind of cool. Like, people have recorded their experiences on it.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty cool. But also, yeah, I'm like, that's kind of lame.
Right, okay.
All right.
All right, then.
Yeah, so we pretty much just gave you an audio tour through the entire Disney World land experience. You don't need to go now.
Yeah, you're set.
You're welcome.
You're good. Just look at pictures and listen to this at the same time.
Yep.
And there's your Disney World experience. Don't pay for a thing.
Hell no. All right, we'll be right back.
And like Family Guy.
Oh no. Well, that might make it end. So, and and welcome back, everyone. And so we're going to go into... sorry, we were drinking root beer while we were talking.
Hello.
So we're going to go into one more topic. This is a news topic, pretty big news topic, possibly earth-shaking in terms of its implications. As of December... Well, I mean, the deal won't be finalized for a little while longer, but nominally right now, Disney has bought the rights to... 21st Century Fox's film department, basically. Now, which specific parts they own are still being talked about. They don't own Fox News, they don't own Fox Sports, and I think there's one or two other things they don't get. But basically, they have gotten the entire film division, so Planet of the Apes, the X-Men, Fantastic Four, they're all Disney, and their TV department, which means effectively Simpsons, King of the Hill, Family Guy, The Cleveland Show.
American Dad.
No, apparently Fox sold that to TBS.
Does that include Futurama?
Ooh, do they own... I guess they still own technically Well, no, because Comedy Central bought the rights to do more Futurama. I don't know if they still have that, though.
No.
They made like 2 or 3 new seasons, and then it ended again. So I guess... Who knows, actually, about that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So Disney has bought one of its biggest competitors, basically wholesale. And I guess, like, because...
I'm stressed.
Yeah. Like, I guess I'm not sweating because the deal won't be finalized for a while. And theoretically, depending on how the midterm elections go, depending on who gets power, and if they decide to actually use antitrust lawsuits and such, we could theoretically have this deal broken up because this is a lot of power in one company.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a big deal.
Oh my gosh.
This is...
I don't even know what to mentally do with this information, honestly. I don't know, man. It's hard to collect my thoughts on what I think about this, but I actually don't want it. The sheer scope of it's
overwhelming.
Yeah.
I know, like, and we're big Disney people. Like, we love Disney. And yet we're both kind of like, this is too much.
Ugh, but, like, all of the things that... Like, Fox has already put its, like, spice on the Fox stuff. Like, it's like, all this stuff is Foxy.
Yeah.
And it'll never be Disney.
Like, yeah, how can you detach the Fox name from The Simpsons?
From The Simpsons, yeah. I don't think you can, no.
Yeah, like, you know, and I'm trying to think of ways this will work. In my head, Disney will keep the Fox name going, and basically, like... Disney owned Miramax, and they basically used that as, like, this is where we'll release our mature movies.
Okay.
That are, like, Oscar bait. Maybe they'll just do that with Fox. Like...
And keep calling it Fox.
Yeah. Like, I guess for me, I just feel like it's a tragedy anytime a major studio dies, just because it's, like, that's a part of our history as, like, a film industry. And just losing them is never something to celebrate.
Yeah.
And, again, it's just scary having that much power in a studio who basically rewrote copyright law. Like, you know, basically lobbied Congress to break copyright, where we haven't had anything in the public domain for decades. Basically because they didn't want to give up Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
And imagining them having another couple multi-million-dollar franchises is a little overwhelming. Like, there's just so many angles to take it from, because... The implications are just huge. Obviously, a lot of people are talking specifically about the Marvel stuff, because Fox's biggest franchise is the X-Men, and now Disney owns the X-Men, which means they can add them to the Avengers, and presumably Hugh Jackman. Yeah, it's never going to end. Now, if there's any question about it ending, that's been silenced.
Come on.
And also, that raises a question: are they going to drag Hugh Jackman back, or is he really done? Because say what you want about X-Men, Logan was really good and a nice send-off for Hugh Jackman in that role. He might come back and completely invalidate that. They own the Fantastic Four, which, honestly, if there was a way they could have just gotten Fantastic Four and nothing else, I would have been happy, because I want a good version of that.
Yeah, we need, someone owes us a good version of that. We need a formal apology.
Yeah, a formal handwritten apology.
The way they ended things.
From Josh Trank and everyone responsible. We need a handwritten apology from Miles Teller. We'll let Michael B. Jordan off the hook just because, and Kate Mara, because they were trying their best.
Yeah.
They were doing what they could. So they can be okay. But yeah, it's just like, and like, a lot of people are yelling at guys like me who are excited about that, like, oh, don't you know how bad this is? And I'm like, yeah, I know, but it's like, look, I like these characters, and can you let me have this, and then I'll worry about the rest later? But yeah, I never thought I'd live to see the day I'd be bummed about Fantastic Four coming back, but just the implications of an entire studio.
Right.
And it just opens up so many logistical questions, just of like, how do you integrate all of this television programming? Because that's a lot of television. And we're not even talking about shows that currently are running. We're talking about shows they used to run that have been since canceled.
Right.
Like decades worth of television just sitting in their pocket now. Like, what happens to... Well, I guess Simpsons World's fine because that was FXX. So that's all protected.
Okay.
But, like, to be honest, I'm just trying to think of all the different films Fox has and what that implication... let's see, Fox Films... Oh, not Fix Films. No, that's too existential a question. Like, it really does become, at what point does everyone else just stop trying?
I don't know.
Like, I think Paramount's fine because, they still made a lot of money from selling the Marvel stuff. Universal's in kind of a weird spot because their whole, Universal Monsters thing failed. Warner Brothers is in trouble if the Harry Potter stuff stops. MGM, I don't know about them. Columbia,
MGM is, no more.
Is it? I don't even know anymore. I can't keep track of who's dead or not.
No, MGM has been a Disney thing.
Really? Oh, jeez.
Yeah, because remember just telling you about Hollywood Studios?
You're right.
That used to be MGM.
Piddle Pam, you're right.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's been had.
It's just what is even left? We're running out of major studios. And, people make the joke that we'll start calling them Disney someday. And, I guess I'm torn because, on one hand, Disney has kept the baseline quality pretty darn good. Their films over the last decade or so, there haven't been that many bad ones. At worst, they're good. They're fine. They're entertaining. Right. But at the same time, it's we talked about Last Jedi being this, unique auteur work where it's this director came in and made his own version of these characters in this universe. That's great. How long is that going to last, though? If there's no competition.
Right.
Part of, the incentive to keep finding new voices and stuff is because you want to make your stuff unique enough to keep going.
Right.
But when your competition is slowly dying all around you, what's even the point? The best Warner Brothers can do is a Fantastic Beast franchise nobody wants, and a Justice League franchise nobody wants. I'm just skimming. Let's see. What is Fox currently working on? Let's see. What are some recent? Kingsman. They did Murder on the Orient Express, which they're trying to make into a franchise, so that could be owned by Disney. Or at least they're trying to make a sequel, because they sort of set up Death on the Nile. The Planet of the Apes, they had a partnership with DreamWorks, but DreamWorks has broken off that relationship, so I guess not. They could bring back Diary of a Wimpy Kid. They own Alien. They own Predator. The Boss Baby. Well, oh, right, no, that's DreamWorks still. Hidden Figures is now technically a Disney film. Cure for Wellness.
It should have always been a Disney film.
Yeah. Assassin's Creed franchise, that's owned by them now. the Miss Peregrine's Home for Curious Children. Assuming they keep their co-production status with Blue Sky, that means the Ice Age and the Peanuts franchise.
Not Ice Age.
I know, not Ice.
No!
Ah, Jesus!
That's the worst part of this whole thing.
No! Yeah, I mean, again, I think, like, and Fox has made a lot of great like, they actually have made a lot of pretty good films in, like, association with other companies. Like, Bridge of Spies is possibly my favorite Spielberg movie. I didn't like The Revenant, but it was an award winner. Just from this award season alone, they have The Post, Greatest Showman, Murder on the Orient Express. Like, if you want to sell me on the idea that they're just using this as a way to get more Oscars, like, basically, like, all right, Fox, you keep making your movies, we're just going to put our stamp on them. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, they have to go through us. That's fine, because that just means more awards for us.
Right.
And naturally more money then. It's almost hard to talk about because there's just so many different angles to this now that I'm thinking about it. Because I'm like, we could just talk about the TV, or we could talk about, like, the Prestige pictures, or we can talk about the franchises, or we can talk about the Marvel franchises. No, Warner. I almost thought this meant Harry Potter was Disney, but no, that's Warner Brothers.
No.
Which, you know, how much longer is that going to last? What if they buy... Oh, God.
It's not. I think it's already over, actually. That we're just fishing for anything with this Fantastic Beast BS.
That no one wants because, you know, J.K. Rowling decided Johnny Depp's not a terrible person for no reason.
Right. LOL.
Yeah, like... It's just... How do you rectify being a Disney fan and, like, loving Disney and wanting to support them and also realizing that they've become an empire in, like, a potentially really bad way?
You can't.
Yeah, that's the... Like, we don't have an answer here.
I know.
It's just, like... And we're gonna keep seeing them because we want to see them.
Yeah.
We're gonna keep supporting them because they're good.
Because we like them.
Yeah, because we like them. We like talking about them.
Right.
Like, how do we... Like, there's no way we can protest this without, like, depriving ourselves of something we want.
The thing that we want, yeah.
And I guess a part of me, too, is I haven't let this become a reality for me yet. Like, I'm still under the impression that this isn't going to happen. That, like, someone's going to step in, that some kind of antitrust thing is going to happen. You know what? That's even a bigger fear for me. Disney's going to get so big and so powerful, then finally we'll have a group of politicians willing to challenge them. They'll lose in court. And then not only will it just be no Fox, but then, you know, Marvel will break off, and then Lucasfilm will break off, and then they'll lose everything. And then I'll be like, you know, then I'll be even more upset, because I like them having Lucasfilm. I like them having Marvel. I don't have a problem with those.
I don't know. I feel minimally affected by all of this, to be honest, because it's not an aspect of Disney that I really pay attention to very much. Like, so, I don't know.
It affects you in minimal... Like, it affects you in subliminal ways.
In the most superficial ways. Like, I'm most upset about the possibility of Ice Age.
Yeah.
Just the sound of the Ice Age movie.
Oh, God.
Scares me more than anything.
Well, are they done... Did they finally say they're done with those? I don't even know.
I think we've decided for them.
Yeah, the people have decided.
The people have decided, yeah.
Like, we decided that canonically they all froze to death and they're fossils now. That's... Actually, come to think of it, that's a baffling franchise where the implication is they're all going to die from unfathomable natural disasters to make more way for humankind. And then they'll just be in tar pits. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like we've had this discussion before when we're talking about extraneous Disney stuff like Lucasfilm and Marvel and, like, what do we consider Disney? And I guess, like, in my head, I still detach all of those from the Disney brand, even though I know... legally and effectively, Disney has the final say on all of this.
Right.
I guess also it's just because, you know, the people who drive me crazy? in terms of, like, film criticism and film discussion.
What?
The people who, whenever something happens in a Marvel film they don't like, or in a Star Wars film, they blame it on Disney. They're like, oh, this is the Disneyfication of, like, my Star Wars. I've
never heard of that.
No, it gets so nasty, especially with Last Jedi.
Really funny.
Just, like, you know, Disney's ruining everything. And, like, I feel like this, like, I guess I'm trying to separate the fear of, like, the creative side of this and the fear of the business side. I don't care about the creative side, to be honest. Like, to be honest, I think most of these franchises, like, a lot of the bigger franchises would benefit from having Disney backing them. Like, because Fantastic Four is garbage. It's always been garbage.
Yeah.
You know, the X-Men movies are kind of stagnant. Like, if it's not Deadpool or Logan, it's not that good.
Right.
So all of, like, the big tentpole stuff, I'm like, fine. But the business implication of how many more major studios are we going to have left within the next decade at this rate is kind of terrifying. And again, just like all of the money and political pool of Hollywood being in one studio who's already used their political power to, like, upend certain parts of our legal system. Like, that's not amore, I tell you what.
I hate you.
I know. So, yeah, I guess that's where we are, just complaining, not having answers.
Pretty much.
Just sitting here.
But whining about him.
Yeah, and drinking root beer.
Yeah.
The dog's so sad, he's hiding under the covers. Hello.
Alright.
Yeah, I guess I have nothing else to add. Do you have anything?
Not a thing.
Alright, so I guess we'll wrap that up, and we'll be right back. Alright, so, yeah, we kind of ended on a dour note there.
Yeah, that was weird. It was really low energy for the end, but...
It's sad. I guess to cheer everyone... I got, to cheer everyone up, you know what a group of porgs is called?
What?
A murder. A murder of porgs.
What?
Yeah. Ryan Johnson...
Are you lying?
No, I swear to God, Ryan Johnson... Someone tweeted at him, like, hey, I'm kind of having a really bad day. Could you just tweet me some porg facts? And he just gave a couple things about, like, their biology, and, like, he's like, a group of them is called a murder. Also, fun fact, you know why they're porgs? So the island they filmed on is actually, like a nationally protected, animal... habitat. Yeah, conservation, that's the word. Yeah. For Ireland. And on the island, there is a huge population of puffins. And they were caught in a jam where now they're filming on an island where there's these earth creatures just fluttering around. Yeah, earth birds. And they can't just move them because that's illegal. So they were like, let's digitally, instead of just digitally removing them completely, which would be a lot more work, let's just digitally mold them into porgs.
Wow. I did not know that.
I mean, that's what they say. I think a part of it definitely was we need a critter to sell. But, like, it's also... I just love them.
Yeah, I'm not mad. I adore a porg.
Oh, yeah. I think, you know, that's a good note to end on. Whenever you're down, remember that porgs exist.
That murders of porgs
will flutter through the air, making squawking noises. And then...
Do they squawk?
They make, like, that...
okay.
Yeah. So, you know, whenever
they remind me of Neopets. Do you remember
Oh, God,
Neopets?
that does look like a friggin' Neopet.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Oh, no.
It does look like a Neopet.
Yeah, so whenever you're down, remind yourself of our favorite sci-fi Neopet and pretend to go to Disney World by listening to our
stories about
audio voices.
Yes.
But until next time, I'm Carter.
And I'm Sydney.
And thanks for tuning in to the Disney Desk.
Woo! Have a good day.
You too.